Hi, welcome back to the Jac and Glen channel. I'm Jackie.
I'm her husband, Glenn.
He's my husband, Glenn.
Hey, before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our reviews. We're at Married at First Sight, season 13, episode number 1. We're here already. It just seemed like we just finished Married at First Sight,
Absolutely.
season 12, but we're already back to season 13. Wow.
In Houston.
In Houston. H-Town. It's like everything's getting done in Houston. Ready to Love has been in Houston for the last 2
seems to be
seasons.
that way.
Houston's the big place, big time.
Yeah.
Or maybe they need love in Houston.
Dr. Viviana's home base.
Home base.
Yeah,
they need love in Houston.
Apparently so.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
Let's get started.
All right. So we meet our couples.
We meet our couples here.
Who we starting with?
Merla
and Gil?
Merla and Gil.
Okay. So we're at the point where the newlyweds they have to let their family and friends know that they're getting married. And so we see Merla and Gil going to talk to their families and friends. And they're talking about Pastor Cal and the experts are talking about why they were matched. It's because they have similar backgrounds, upbringing, cultural connections. And so we see Gil talking to his friends, Luis, Christian, Willie, Brian, and Carlton.
Yeah.
And we already know that Gil is a firefighter.
He's a firefighter.
And he's 35.
35 years
and
old.
that's going to be a running thing.
Yeah, that's going to be a running thing. We got some old heads in this episode.
Yeah.
In this season, sorry.
Yeah. So he lets his friends know that he's getting married in 14 days and 2 weeks. And they're like, wow. They're like, oh, wow.
They was excited. They were surprised.
But in a good way.
Yeah.
In a good way. And he said he got into the Married at First Sight process because he's had a hard time finding someone to relate to in other areas of his life, particularly his job, which we know as a firefighter is physically and mentally stressful. And so he needs someone that can match that and be able to help him to relax and, just understand the demands of his work. He's into 90s R&B.
Yeah, he wants the R&B type love.
Yeah. He wants somebody that's into 90s R&B as well, that's loves passionately, is real and straightforward. And his thing is that he doesn't trust everyone, but he's looking to trust someone early on. He shared that his father got killed when he was 14.
Yeah.
When Gil was 14, he got killed in a home invasion. Which obviously is a stranger. And so he was like, it took him a long time to trust strangers because, strangers could do anything. And that's true,
And now he's getting ready to marry a stranger. And that was one of the things, too. It took me a long time to meet strangers. And now look how ironic it is. I'm getting ready to marry a stranger. So.
Yeah, hopefully it's not an axe murderer.
No, I don't think she's an axe murderer. I think she's
I'm talking about based on what he knows right now.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully it's not an axe murderer, you know what I'm saying? So he said he loves love. Love is queen, king. And he says in this, the phrase that he's going with is it's a leap of faith. And it really is a leap of faith. And so his friend Willie he's shocked. He says that he doesn't need this. He's a good looking guy. He attracts girls and everything. And so his friend Carlton brings up the fact that what if you see her and she's not, you're not attracted to her. And Gil said, I had to think about it this way. What if she's not attracted to me?
What if she's not attracted to me?
I can't just go into it like I'm this big catch, which he's not a bad looking guy. His friends say he's a good catch, but he can't be like,
But he got a good attitude going into it.
He does.
I think that's the mindset, and I think when we get into the rest of these castmates or cast members, a lot of them have a good attitude going into the unknown.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think his attitude, like, okay, what if she doesn't like me? So now I'm gonna have to do something to make her like me and to make me like me, other than just what she sees.
Right.
Other than just my looks or my bald head, or because Gil is Colombian, my Colombian heritage and roots, because
full-blooded Colombian.
Full-blooded Colombian who likes to dance and party.
Yes.
He likes to dance. So, he is a decent cast member. Mm-hmm. We always see, we saw firefighters early on, and he's a firefighter, and that's going to be brought up a little bit too, because if you watch the preview special, who's getting ready to marry, she likes money.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
what?
and we're gonna get to Merla. So Merla is 34 years old. She's also of Latino or Hispanic background,
Mhm.
and she meets with her friend Dion. Is the only guy in the group.
Yeah.
Clarissa, her friend Quiana, Alicia, and Renika.
Mhm.
All right. And she says in this, she trusts the experts to match her. She's putting her full trust in it. And, she tells them, I'm going to get married in 14 days. And some of them are excited. But they all kind of have apprehensions like, you're bougie.
She is bougie.
You got.
And when we saw, she's the one with Prada bags, and she's the one with all high price. She has high taste.
Yeah.
Coming from humble beginnings to where she's at now. I want to put that out. She started in humble beginnings, so she didn't start off with money, but she's worked her way up to the point where she's well taken care of.
And she wants to maintain her lifestyle. She wants somebody that's gonna come in and maintain her lifestyle. So she can maintain her lifestyle. And basically, it's like it's not changing over here. This is what it's gonna be. But she said basically she got into the married at first sight process because she's tired of being a third wheel. She goes out with her friends, and here she's peeking in a picture while they're out. And she says she's really into self-care.
Yeah.
She's the type of person that she says, you're not going to find me at the gym with mixed match clothes. My outfits are going to be matching. I get my Botox and I get my lashes done every week. She got Lash Friday. She gets her lashes done.
If anything, Gil needs the money so Botox right. I mean, that's not cheap, though. You're getting that on a regular basis. That's something that, that needs to be taken care of in a longer suit. Not every day. I mean, not every day, but regularly.
Right. And like you said, she came from humble beginnings. She said she moved around a lot as a child, and that love in her life is what's missing. And she said she wants somebody to do life with. She wants somebody that's into his faith, tall, dark, handsome, bearded, and again, enjoy the same lifestyle that she already has.
Well, she got 2 out of 3. She got tall and dark. He ain't bearded because there's no hair. There's no hair whatsoever. And guess
he don't have a mustache.
But you can do that. But as a firefighter, it's kind of really
it's flammable.
It's flammable. You're not gonna have that much hair.
No.
I know you've covered, but you really don't want that much hair as a firefighter. No. Going into burning building and houses. So you don't want anything to get caught up and caught in flames. But this couple right here, they're a very unique couple. They both come from, like I said, Hispanic type descent, so it's something that's
not type, absolutely.
So it's good for them to see. So I think they're well together.
Yeah, well, so far, that's what he's thinking. But her friend Dion said he's conflicted about it, that she requires a lot. What if a man doesn't fit the mold that she's looking into and she has to shift her lifestyle? She said that would be a problem. If I have to shift my lifestyle, it's gonna be a problem.
But I mean, just based off the picture here, they look happy. They look happy. So we want to make sure. I think this marriage, if we predict, and I think they may work out.
Yeah, they look nice together.
They look nice together.
And the expert said basically, they feel like they would complement each other. She said, she did stress the fact that she doesn't want a bald-headed man. Well, obviously, Gil is bald.
She's going to get a bald-headed man.
And Pastor Cal was like, I think the fact that she doesn't want a bald-headed man, that's just superficial. She'll be able to get past that. And Gil will be able to get her out of her comfort zone.
I think, but I really, when you look at it, I think some of the issue is not with just the bald-headed guy, but I think there'll be 2 issues. One major issue, I think, is going to be finances. I think finances will be an issue when she really finds out what he does and what he makes. Another one I think will be the issue is, again, goes back to finances, the same thing, her spending habits.
Yeah.
If they can merge their stuff together.
Yeah. And so real quick, we want to touch on the fact that, they did the bachelor and bachelorette parties, and we see Gil having the time of his life.
Oh, he's getting it.
He's imitating the stripper. What you do in a pole, I'm going to do too. He actually put a little split in his pants. He's having a good time. And on the flip side, we see Merla like, this isn't really my scene. It's not my cup of tea. I just want to go ahead and do the wedding and get it over with. Like, I don't want to do all this stuff. Let's just go. And just kind of real stiff.
They thought she was stiff. They thought she was rigid. She was rigid and stiff. They thought she was real stiff and rigid. But I think that's her though. I think that she just wants to get, she doesn't want to go through all the preliminary stuff. She wants to get to the wedding.
But not even. But I was just like, okay, I understand that. But she just like wasn't. Just say it's not just the preliminary stuff. Like, this is not my scene. Like, she was just, she didn't like have any, even when she talked to her friends, you can at least have fun with your friends. She just didn't even
but they're not friends though.
No. Yeah. Because they had friends that were there. So yeah.
But her people, I mean, when they all met, they have it. She doesn't really get to know them yet because she says she's a ambivert. Yeah, she's, that's kind of like an introverted extrovert. Yeah. An extroverted introvert. Whatever. She says, I can balance. I do both. She's a hybrid.
Yes.
She's a hybrid between the two. So I like this couple. You want to get predictions now or we wait till the end?
I'd like to wait till the weddings.
Let's wait till the weddings. Let's wait till next week.
Yeah,
so
let's see how they interact.
Newsflash: we didn't get all the weddings. We got one.
Yeah, we got one.
We got one wedding. So if you watched all 3 hours or you haven't watched this review yet,
you're a soldier, first of all.
You're a soldier. You're a soldier, but there's only one wedding on the show.
Yes, only one.
Only one. And
but
we'll get to it.
I liked it.
I liked it
though. All right.
Let's
So next we have Michaela and Zack. There's Michaela and Zack. And off the top, for real. Like, I'm looking at them and I was like, they're both cute. I think I'm jumping ahead. I think they'll like each other when they see each other. I think they're going to like each other because they're both cute.
Michaela is 30 years old.
And she's a realtor.
She's a realtor and Zack is 27. So there's no no Miles and Karen situation. She didn't mind the age difference.
No.
She won't mind the age difference. So she didn't ask for anybody older or younger, but she wants somebody who's handsome.
Yes. And so what we know about Zack is they call him a Renaissance man. All right. And his parents have been married for 28 years. Mm-hmm. And so that's what he aspires to. I will say this real quick. He does say, I've never been in love. And I'm leery of that. I'm leery because we saw that with Derek in the previous season.
We saw it with Ryan.
We saw it with Ryan,
And 1 out of 2 worked.
Yeah.
Ryan and Claire didn't make it, but Derek and Jessica. No, Derek.
No, it was Derek and Katie.
I'm sorry. Oh, they 0-2. Then Derek and Katie got divorced. Yeah. And Ryan said it too, but it was Jessica's husband who said he didn't.
Yes.
Had never been loved.
He said he was slow about saying it.
He's slow about saying it.
He didn't want to just say it to be saying it.
Right. And Derek said he never said it.
But he really wanted to. We found out with him, he wanted to say it. It was just like, And when he did say it, it wasn't forced, unlike Ryan.
Ryan,
it's kind of forced.
Jessica and Austin, that's who it was.
Yeah, Jessica and Austin, that's right. So anyway, Zack sits down with his parents, Dane and Joseph. Okay. Yeah. And then his brother, Tolliver. His dad's like, okay, what prompted this? And so, he was like, I've never been in love before. And I just want to be loved and have somebody, whatever. And his mom talks to him. He's like, marriage is more than that. It's more than just a wife and kids. There's more to it than that. And he was like, but I've always wanted this. I've like dreamed about, aspired to be married and have kids. And he was like, and then it's like, I'm the odd man out. I have one brother that's going to be getting married soon. And the other one is in a long-term relationship. And I'm out here hanging by myself.
But he also said he's never been to a wedding.
That's so weird. I don't know anybody that's never been to a wedding. I don't know anybody.
I don't know too many people too that never been to a wedding.
I know people who haven't been in a wedding, maybe, but to never have been to one, period.
That's weird.
That was weird to me. I'm like, okay.
He never been in one.
Yeah. So anyway, he said he hasn't had any problem finding girls to date, but he has this idea in his head that they're not really fitting in. And so that's been his problem.
But one thing about Zack too, his longest relationship was 9 months.
Oh my gosh.
He's only his longest relationship has been 9 months. When he was talking to the gentleman, talking to the guys, he says only his long relationship has been 9 months. And he's been dating people maybe 2 months here, 3 months there, but he's never been in a long-term committed relationship.
Gil told him that's a fling.
That's a fling. That's a fling. He's never been in a long-term committed relationship. So now you're taking a guy who's been in short-term relationship or flings, as Gil said, and now he's going to be married.
Yeah.
That's a recipe.
That makes me nervous.
It makes me nervous.
That makes me nervous.
That makes me nervous.
Yeah. But overall, he seems like he's a nice guy. But he said he's going to give it his all. His dad thinks he's crazy. He calls it crazy. And when he actually tells them I'm getting married in 2 weeks, the dad is like shocked and he lets a word fly. He was like,
yeah,
you know, he said, how do you know you're ready to be a husband? Dad is, and that's what parents should do. Like, how do you know you're ready? I don't know about this, son.
but it's a decent question, though. I know when we got married, my dad said, "Are you sure this is what you want to do?" You know, yeah, I'm sure because I found the right person. I mean, in this case, they don't know the person, but he knows that he wants to be attached to somebody. Mm-hmm. So I think when you have that feeling and when you have that mind that, you know what, I want to be attached, I want to be loved, and I want to love somebody else, they're willing to go through the process. I think, unlike past shows, I think these people probably really actually watch the show.
Yeah.
Because you can tell by some of the answers and some of the things they're doing, they actually watch the show and they know what they're signing up for. Yeah. So I don't think we have any problems with, Zack not want to be on camera or anything like that. But I think he knows. Hope. I think he knows what he signed up for, and he's willing to go through the process. And I think that's what his dad was like. How do you know? You know, because it's a different process.
Yeah, and he makes a comment to his mom. I know you don't think there's anybody that's good enough for your kids. And do you think that's true? And she was like, for my son, I just don't want you marrying some random girl. And, she cries about it. And I understand, you don't. Like, even when it's a girlfriend, mom has to get used to and know the girlfriend. So it's like, how do I do that with some random chick? Okay.
Yeah, but all moms like that, though. Yeah. They don't want their sons to be with just anybody. When our son get married, I'm sure you're going to be like that, too. You don't want him to be with just anybody. Because I know as a father.
Gonna be?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think
right
so.
Now. No, right now, I'm like, who is that girl? What she want? Who are her parents? So
you want to make sure, and then you have no unknown. It's unknown here, please. Because think about it, it's unknown.
Yeah.
And so you have the unknown. It's not like they got to meet the girl. They don't know the girl. So she could come from anybody, anywhere. Her family could be different. The morals don't match up. I'm sure. But that's what goes to a person's mind. I think I had to put myself on the other side of the table. Mm-hmm. If you get this, okay, I'm meeting somebody, I'm marrying somebody in 2 weeks. Like, oh.
Right.
Right.
So then we see Michaela talking to her family, and she's 30. She's a realtor.
Yes.
And she's sitting with her sisters. One thing I wanted to add. Because last season, we had a lot of dogs. So we start with the dogs already. So Zack has his dog, Bella. And we find out Michaela has her dog, Nova.
So what we're going to do, you just go on Instagram sooner or later, and you'll start seeing people post pictures of all Married at First Sight dogs.
Right. They'll probably have a whole episode like they did before.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she meets with her sisters, Sharifa, Amina, and I think it's Ijalo.
Good job. Yeah.
Okay, I think it's how you say it. And so her thing is, she's like, I'm the baby sister of the bunch. I'm nervous, and I wonder if my sisters can handle it. Obviously, with your older sisters, they can be protective. They know you better. They've known you since day one, since you were born. And and I forgot, her sister's husband was there. He looked kind of random in the scene, but I was like, he obviously belongs because he's sitting down.
I'm gonna tell you how you ended up there. You're coming with me. She's like, you're coming with me. We're gonna drag you. We're gonna drag you. You're dragging. Look, you're gonna be here. And he acted like he didn't want to be there.
Because he was just pouring the drinks.
He was just
and look, I was like, well, obviously the waiter's not sitting down, but he like totally looked disinterested until they had their little vignette. And it was like, I'm like, what the heck? What is Michaela doing? So I was like, oh yeah, okay. He's that type, like observing, like,
just watching.
I speak when I'm spoken to.
She has him in check. I'm sorry.
Nah, I'm just kidding. So her sisters were actually kind of nervous about it. Like, I don't know. They said you need somebody who's going to be understanding because you can be very stubborn.
Yes.
And she kind of smirked like, but even the brother-in-law, all the sisters and the brother-in-law was like, you are
stubborn, not bossy. We didn't go to a whole Brianna situation.
But stubborn can be worse.
Stubborn could be worse.
Stubborn can be worse. And so so she did try to look shocked, like, who, me, stubborn? Oh no. But yeah. She said, I've, basically relinquished myself, giving it over to somebody else to make a pick for me.
Yeah.
I'm trusting them again to make a pick for me.
I think some of these people get on here because after a long period of time, you making picks and making selections you haven't done right, and it's always the same thing, or you end up in the same situation. why not hand it to somebody else, experts to pick somebody for you? You know, even though it's a crapshoot, roll of the dice, because we know that a lot of these marriages don't work, but it's an opportunity to meet somebody else new, to get into a circle, and maybe find somebody, maybe find love out of it.
Because what she said was, I was shallow in my random days, in my younger days, and so she said I put weight on and value on the wrong thing, and so now, you know, I'm at a place where I know what values I should put weight on. You know, what I'm actually looking for. And she shared that she didn't have an easy time growing up. They were homeless at one point.
Yeah.
You know, it was rough. And if she hadn't been kept on the right track by her parents, she was like, you know, it kind of turned out much different than it did. So being where I am right now is a credit to my upbringing. And even though I went through some things, and she did share that, you know, her father was an amazing person, how basically she was a daddy's girl, and he meant so much to her, and he was killed by a drunk driver. And we find out later that he was killed by a drunk driver, and a few months later his mom passed away, her grandma. Basically of a broken heart. And
you know, she said they were looking down on her and they were happy about this moment. And I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was a short span. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it was.
It didn't seem like it was that long, yeah.
But she said losing him had made a heavy impact on her life. And basically she told a story about how I need a man that was like my dad. You know, I called him, my hood flew off my car. It was the middle of the day. He was at work, but he dropped what he had and he came to see about me. So she said, that's the kind of man I'm looking for. Like self-sacrificing, is willing to give of himself and go out of his way and be a knight in shining armor, basically.
Yeah, be that guy who, I don't want to say Johnny on the spot, but kind of be Johnny, but kind of be Johnny on the spot. Look, when I need you, I be there. You know, be there and just be there and help me out, not question, but be there for what I need.
And so she just wants to give it a shot. Her sister Sharifa's like, you know, I know you're gonna need some time to adjust, and you know, I think if they can handle you, it'll be all right.
I think my man Zack can handle her a little bit. I think they're good. They're good together. She does have a fire side to her though.
Oh, absolutely. Because at the bachelorette party, sis went in. But I felt like, unlike Merla, like if that's the place, if you're out partying, go ahead and party. I think she's obviously she's fun loving and sweet. You could tell that from her other vignettes, you know, when they're talking to her. But she seems like the type that when it's time to turn up, I'm gonna turn up. And she had her a good old time.
Oh, she turned up okay. And she used her
gave
money.
Away all her money.
All her money that production gave her.
Yeah, she was like, how come Bao got money left and I don't have any? And so the dancer was like, you gave me all your money.
You gave me all the money. she was having a good time with the strippers.
She really, we don't call them dancers.
Oh, dancers, sorry. Why?
We don't know what I'm
sorry.
They had clothes on. The men didn't have any shirts on, but that's what men do.
Dancers. Sorry.
Dancers.
I won't call them strippers.
No, please don't.
Exotic dancers.
But the experts say, you know, they were matched because they're a great example of what each other needs. And with some patience on Zack's part and steadiness and the fact that Michaela is exciting and full of joy, they think they'll, you know, be a good match.
Yeah, they'll be a good match.
Yep. All right. So who we got next?
We have let's go with Brett and Ryan. And this
is always it's a girl and a guy.
It's a girl and it's a girl and a guy. It always messes me up. Brett and Ryan, and Brett is actually the girl, and Ryan is actually the guy. Which the name
because it can be flip flop.
It can be flip flop.
Absolutely.
And so they can be flip flop, but interchangeable. So you know, Brett is Ryan is I did it again. I did it. Ryan is a serial dater, and Ryan said that he has gone on like 50 dates. 50 plus dates in the last 3 to 4 years, and there's some towns that he cannot go back to.
That's crazy
because he's hurt some people in that town, or some women. He's dated multiple people in that town.
That's crazy.
In the towns that he can't go back to. Now, one thing about Ryan though, he's really gotten serious because he had a friend who died within the last year, and really it put perspective in for him and made his a life-changing event and perspective in his life that he needs to be with somebody, that he needs to have. That he needs to be with a loved one. He needs to find love because he's tired of being alone. He's tired of being on the dates. He's tired of just going through life. He wants to share with somebody.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's one of the big things I've seen with him. He wants to share with somebody. And I think Bao said it not badly. Johnny said it when it was at the when they first met each other, that it looks like Ryan has been down a rough road, that he's been through a lot, and you can just he had a long journey, as Johnny said.
Yeah.
And so now he's trying to get things together and piece together. His family, when he told his family that he was getting married, he was worried about his sister.
Yeah, because it's like, if my sister doesn't take it well, she can influence my parents. But when he told them, overall, all three of them, his sister, his mom, and dad were all like his mom got stuck. She was stuck. She was like, what?
Yeah, what? Yeah.
And his dad was like, this is crazy. This is crazy.
His dad kept saying, this is crazy. Like, I can't believe you're doing this. I can't believe you're doing this. And he kind of eased their mind. This is something I want to do, because he had them at the house cooking dinner, and his sister made the joke, but man, when we lived together all these years, you'll never cook,
Right. Must be something going on.
Must be something going on. So he kind of buttered him up and tried to lean into him. They knew he was going through the process, but they didn't know he got selected. So as he told him to get selected, it was a surprise, because again, this is outside of his norm.
Yeah.
It is outside of norm, but he really wants to be married.
I think the funniest part was when his dad was like, I just wish I had normal kids. Not kid. I was like, oh, wow. So I don't know what the sister's done or been into, but he said, I just wish I had normal kids. And he was like, wow, okay, so not normal?
Yeah, it's not.
She was like, no, this is not a normal process. Absolutely not. But
and Brett's also 35. He's 35 years old.
Ryan.
We're
gonna be doing that the whole time.
I'm gonna be doing that the whole time. Ryan is 30. Ryan is 35.
Yes.
Brett is 33. She's a volleyball coach. She's involved heavily with young people. So, one thing about Ryan, he is a hopeless romantic.
That's what I'm gonna say. Yes, he is very romantic.
He's very romantic. He said his favorite movie is The Notebook.
And he was like, I hate to admit that, but I really enjoyed that movie. And I think he said he cried.
Yeah, he said he cried. He said he cried on The Notebook. Him and his dog. He got a nice shaggy dog. He has an animal. So.
Oh yeah, that dog was huge.
Huge dog.
But pretty.
But he's a hopeless romantic, and he wants somebody that he can romance and show love and compassion to.
Yes.
So we're there. Then we have Brett.
Yes, we have Brett, and Brett is 33. And of note, Brett hasn't kissed anyone in 2 years. She hasn't been with anybody in 2 years.
So it's not the longest, because Deanna was 10 years.
Yeah. And the first thing was, when she's talking to the girls later, she says, they haven't, when's the last time you knew somebody, when you knew somebody? She was like, it's been 2 years for me. And I was like, okay, that's understandable, because she was like, she's the type where she said, if I'm not in a relationship, if it's not serious, I'm not going to go there with it. And that makes good sense. But then when she was like, I haven't kissed anybody in 2 years, like, sis,
she
ain't getting a man no kids. She ain't getting nobody no kids.
She hadn't had nobody to kiss, because she said she's kind of lonely. Because we remember when we looked at her refrigerator.
Oh gosh,
her refrigerator was nothing in there. It was just like a little bit of stuff for her. You know what I'm saying? It was just enough so she could maintain and eat. Even when we saw her cook.
Wasn't she the one fixing the salmon?
She had one salmon.
I'm like, who fixed one piece of salmon? Just fix two and you can have it for tomorrow.
but she also was she also had lost some weight.
Yes.
So though she had been working on the pandemic, she had gained a lot of weight. So she's also been working out and getting herself together in that aspect, and getting ready to be married again. Oh, not be married, but getting ready to find a person. She's tired of being alone. Yeah. She doesn't want to be alone, and she has the fear. I go back to what Clara said. She doesn't want to be heartbroken.
Yeah, she said she doesn't want to.
When she met with her friends, then they talked. That was one of her fears. I don't want to be heartbroken. Mm-hmm. I don't want to go through this process or be in this process and they're not like me or not be with me. Yeah. When she told her friends about her situation, they was all excited and happy and joyous about the fact that she was getting married. They were surprised at the fact that, and I think she has a good support system with her friends. I think they're tight and they're willing to help her through the process, because some of the advice they gave her was good advice.
Yeah, the one thing I can say that Brett said, she was like, some men can find her intimidating. Mm-hmm. So she hopes that's not an issue, and I don't think it will be. She still seems kind of relatable, pretty nice and everything. So, but it must be the fire red hair. She's a redhead. I mean, you could tell from her parents that she's naturally redheaded.
Yeah, but not that
it's
bright
redder.
now.
Yeah, So maybe that's what it is to fire.
But she's very observant too. This is one thing I like because she has picked out when Bao and about Michaela, she has noticed things about different people within the circle. And so when she pulls that into a relationship, it's going to help their relationship. It's going to help them grow because, again, being very observant, paying attention to details, they'll be able to pick up with one another. They're both kind of outgoing type people, like to do different activities. So we'll see how they pan out here in the future, Brett and Ryan. But she was laid back at the bachelorette party, just looking around and just seeing things.
She had a good time, though.
Same thing with Ryan. Ryan was laid back at the bachelor party, just laid back and surveying the land. He wasn't like the other guys that were there. But one thing I mentioned earlier, he's a serial dater. The last serial dater that we had, Brett. That's funny, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Brett from New Orleans. It didn't work out. So hopefully
we'll see.
Hopefully he hadn't gone on any dates since they been together. So one thing again, Brett and Ryan, we're not picking yet, so I'm not gonna go there.
No,
we're not picking yet. So we'll wait and see. But let's move on to I know you like this one.
Jose and Rachel?
Yeah, let's move on to Jose and Rachel.
Oh, they look nice in that picture too.
They do look nice, don't they?
Yeah.
They look decent together. But let's go move on to Jose and Rachel. Let's start with Rachel.
Okay.
Rachel sat there and she talks to her mom and her best friend about the fact that, I'm getting ready to get married. And her biggest thing was her friend is brutally honest.
Yes. And she was like, I know she's not going to cut any slack and she's going to tell me how she really feels.
Yeah. And she was like, and we had to mix up. Rachel's the one that had the empty fridge and the athletic. So it's not Ryan, but not digress. But her friend was saying that she want Rachel just to relax, to enjoy. And that sometimes Rachel could be too much, that she gets, she's too accommodating. She wants somebody to accommodate to her needs. And so she needs somebody to meet her halfway, and she need to meet them halfway.
Well, the one thing we found out about Rachel too is, of course, we all had to live through this coronavirus, COVID-19 pandemic, and she was dating someone. She had a long distance relationship, and so during the pandemic, they moved in together. They moved in together.
During the pandemic,
they moved in together, and then she found out homeboy was cheating. Like, you moved in here. Like, how dare you bring COVID home?
No, but how dare you? We're doing fine long distance relationship. That's why the long distance relationship worked, because he was dealing with somebody else. Okay. And when he moved in with her, and after 9 months, she realized he was cheating on her.
Oh my gosh, that has got to be the worst.
And so he had to go. So she's not freshly out of a relationship, but she's kind of out of a relationship now. That wasn't going anywhere. And now
it was stressful to her. She gained, and she was one too.
Yeah,
she put on some weight, but she's lost weight. She lost 35 pounds, and so she's taking care of herself. Yeah.
And she was talking about, what does she want? She wants a guy who's honest. I mean, I think everybody in a relationship, everybody on this show wants somebody who's honest. And really, we watched season 12, we realized that honesty is a very key, important ingredient to make sure your marriage, that you stay married. So she wants somebody who's accommodating, somebody who's honest. And I'm worried about the word accommodating, because you don't want anybody who always bends over backwards. You don't want anybody who always walking on eggshells. You want to be able to meet somebody in the middle, that you can work on things together, that you guys can move and develop into to grow this relationship. I understand when you first meet each other, we're feeling each other out. But as they progress, I like to see her and Jose, and her, especially her, become kind of accommodating him too, not have things in one way.
Well, yeah, and the one thing that her friend did talk to her about too is, in her, they were like, you got to learn how to be expressive.
Yes.
Don't just sit there and go through something, but talk about how you feel and express yourself. And she was like, basically, she was like, yeah, I have been the type to just, take some stuff. And so, she kind of looked like, yeah, okay, I'm not going to do that.
But she has to open up, because if not, to who she's marrying, when we get to Jose in a minute, he is a meticulous, straightforward. When he has a plan, and this is the plan, he sticks to the plan. And so if she doesn't like the plan that when her and Jose goes through, she has to speak up. Yes. If not, he's going to run with this plan.
Absolutely.
And he's going to take it full force. And we see this since we opened the door for Jose. Let's go to it.
Okay, so Jose is a flight specialist with NASA.
With NASA. He's 35 years old.
He is 35 years old. I told you running thing. A lot of the guys are 35. Mm-hmm. But like my husband said, he is meticulous. He says, I've built and paid off 2 houses. Uh-huh. He's paid off his vehicle. Yeah. He's paid off his student loans. He is debt free.
He's debt free. I guarantee he probably did a Dave Ramsey.
He is a Dave Ramsey guy. I promise you.
I promise. Don't know, but I guarantee some of the things he just says. But he also, what we've seen in his vignette a lot, he's a very religious guy.
Yes.
In his vignettes, we
watched. Which we thought was odd. Like he was walking up, like he walked up to the church building or whatever.
Church building, the Bible, and that doesn't mean, because we saw Chris was a religious guy too. So that doesn't mean. I mean, I'm sure on the show some of y'all guys gonna say it, so I'm gonna say it too. That don't mean anything. You're right.
Unfortunately, in the world of Married at First Sight.
Yeah, in the world of
But no, the part I was gonna say is I thought it was funny because I think we figured it was a Bible. It might have been a book, but I doubt it. We think it was a Bible, but it was funny because they had the cover blurred.
They had it blurred out. Whatever, I don't know. Whatever. Maybe it was a special type of Bible, such type of book that they blurred the name out. They didn't get rights to.
Oh no!
I thought everybody had the rights to Bible.
I thought I was weird, but
yeah. So he's a very meticulous guy.
And that's why he thinks he's single, because he's a perfectionist.
Because he's a perfectionist. Because he wants everything to be in the right place. He wants everything to be correct. I mean, even his parents said that, like, when he met with his dad and his mom, which we found out his parents are divorced. He has a stepmom. And, so they were surprised, too, that he was going this route.
Yeah. But I want to go back to that. So, because Jose makes a point to say, in the marriage, his dad was unfaithful. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, wow, okay. And so he's got a stepmom. I hope it wasn't with the stepmom. The mom and dad and stepmom are all sitting there. And then I think it was his brother. His brother there.
His brother, a friend, or something like that.
Uh-huh.
But and that's one of the things, he really want to be the opposite of his dad. He wants to, when I get in this marriage, I want to be faithful and I want to do all the things the right way. I want to be able to say, this is my wife for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. And so but I think his parents are concerned and his family is concerned that his perfectionist will get in the way.
Yeah.
Because he wants everything to be in defined order. So they think that will be one of the issues that they will have. Well, you got one who's accommodating, you got one who wants a husband who's accommodating. And this is what's funny too, because he wrote down 258 or 268.
256 questions. He said
56 questions.
He talked about, when he was with the guys at the bachelor party, he was like, have you thought about how it's gonna be after the wedding when you sit there and chit chat or whatever? And he was like, any question that came to my mind, I wrote it down. And he was like, yeah, it might be kind of like creepy or crazy or whatever. He said, by the time I finished, I had like 256. and
it's very creepy. It is very creepy for you.
No. But when you think about it, because then you'll come back later and be like, oh man, I should have asked. I thought about. So whenever it crossed his mind, which makes sense. And I'm sure he's not going to sit there and go through all the questions, But he was like, yeah, I have these questions to ask. So
that's a lot of questions.
It is. It's a lot. But I mean, they've got plenty of time to talk. And I feel like by the time they get through it, he'll feel like, okay, I have a better grasp of who this person is. And that's what you want, because it's a stranger and you want to get to the point where you're not like Jeffy. And Jeffy used to always be like stranger danger up until like the end of the season.
And long he doesn't pull out that roll and here we go. I'm going to ask question 159. He doesn't scare her away. And I think that was one of the things, my biggest concern, when you have that many questions or you have that person who wants to ask everything, it becomes more like an interview or interrogation than it does a relationship or marriage. So you have to be careful when you ask all those questions and not all at one time. Give it in a good rhythm, mm-hmm. and a good rhythm and a good time to ask questions and to know where they're at. And so that's one of the things that's very important, to make sure timing is everything when you're getting to know your new potential spouse. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the big key there. With Jose and Rachel. And
Jose had him a good time at the bachelor party.
Oh, Jose was ready.
He had a good time. Not as much fun as Gil, but he had a good old time.
Gil was getting in, but Jose had a good time as well. So we can't complain about Jose.
So. All right. And so last but not least, we have Johnny and Bao. Bao. I love that name, Bao.
Yeah, we got Johnny and Bao. Johnny and Bao.
I want to jump ahead with this so much, but I can't.
We're not jumping ahead. We're telling the story. We're not jumping ahead. We're introducing everybody to Johnny and Bao, and we'll get to Johnny and Bao finale at the end. So let's start with Johnny. You okay? You good? Can we go to Johnny? All right, let's go to Johnny. Johnny is 35 years old. Johnny is
running theme.
He is very picky.
He says he's got some OCD.
And if you saw Johnny's closet, you would know that he had OCD. Every pants was dressed right on the hanger. Every blue shirt was over here. White shirts was over there. Pants was in the middle. Everything was organized, and I felt bad because my closet does not look like that.
I've tried it to get them straight.
I do have my long sleeve shirts, my short sleeve shirts, my khakis.
They be intermingled.
My dress clothes.
They be intermingled. I be trying to fix it, and then he goes in my closet and does the same thing. I be like, that is not where my dress goes. Dresses don't go there. Those are shirts. Anyway.
But I do the laundry. No, I'm sorry. We do the laundry together.
Go to Johnny and Bao before you get hurt.
Johnny and Bao. Johnny said he hadn't had a girlfriend in 7 years. Hadn't had a girlfriend in 7 years. He said he needs to be in control.
Yes.
He has to have control. This is where the OCD, the whole control situation, he has to be in control. And he likes the girl to make the first move. And he says, he said he wants the female to say, I love you first. This is where I have a problem with Johnny. You're the dog. You're the man, dog. You're the man. You take the lead. Mm-hmm. You be the protector. You are the one to say love. I will get it. I know why. Because his issues that he has with his father. And so that's one of the biggest things that he had. He had some issues with his dad. His parents were divorced. They grew up with siblings. Dad got divorced, and his dad has left.
Yes,
left his mom, and
he moved to another state,
and he's been seeking approval from his dad ever since they've been divorced. Seeking approval because he wants his dad to say that he approved of his relationship. He wants his dad to say he approved of his life. He wants his dad to say he approved of everything that goes on. And he wants to have a relationship with his dad, which is not good. And so his friends became like his family's brother because his mom was a single mom.
Well, his cousin, he's got a big family.
Big family, yeah.
So quite a few cousins, and they grew up more like
brothers.
He said my other siblings rather than my cousins.
Yeah, and so he wants his dad to come to the wedding. Mom is coming to the wedding. His dad, and he said his dad's closed-minded and controlling.
Yeah, and just to jump ahead, we see him call his dad to let his dad know, and I guess his dad was so adamant about not liking it. Like they didn't even show the video of them talking on the phone. He calls the dad, you don't even hear the dad answer, and you get this big disclaimer that his dad is very much against it, and he's very much against it, and he don't want to be a part of the filming at all. Exclude me, I'm not in it.
Yeah, he didn't want to be a part of it. I mean, and we thought that was going to happen to with Virginia's dad, but he came around and he was in film. But Bao dad is like, he's totally, Johnny's dad is totally against it. Mm-hmm. Doesn't want anything to do with it.
And it broke him down. Oh my gosh.
Because when you have a young man who's seeking for approval from his father, he's seeking for approval. He wants to say, you're doing a good job. He's successful. He's a successful businessman. Everything's perfectionist. Everything's dressed. And he's doing everything the right way, and he still doesn't get approval from the person he loves.
But this is my thing.
It draws it hurts him.
But this is my thing in what Johnny said about his dad. He says, he has an ideal of the way things are supposed to go, how you're supposed to get married, and how marriage is supposed to be. And I think it's funny that it's coming from his dad who left his mom high and dry to raise his children as a single mother. It's funny that you got all these ideas of what's supposed to be, but you didn't do it. And then, you left us, and it's like, I don't know. I know it happens with people, but you're seeking approval for somebody that lets you down. And I'm sure it comes from you trying to measure up to what they didn't, and you want them to take notice of it. But I thought that was odd. I was like, okay, you ain't got to like. And in the end, he was like, it hurt me. I really want my dad to be with it, but it took a lot of consideration. He was like, I'm still going forth with it. Yeah. And I think he made the right decision.
Because he really wanted his dad to validate his decision. And he was like, I don't know if I can do it if my dad doesn't approve. And I don't know if that's a cultural thing or if it's a Johnny thing, because sometimes culturally we want the approval from our elders and people that we have value in our life. So he went through it.
Yeah, he did.
He went through it, but
it was kind of heartbreaking.
It was heartbreaking to see him, see him cry and get in that. He loves sports. He's very into it. He tells his cousins that he was getting married, and his cousin and his friends, the female friends, and like, oh, everybody liked Johnny. What made me think, well, why you ain't hook up with him then?
Oh yeah, that was Kim.
That was Kim. Like, yo, everything's good with Johnny. Why y'all ain't hook up? But again, you got some good friends that are not, romantically involved.
Yeah.
But it was a surprise, and they was happy and said, look, you can't be Mr. Perfectionist in this. You're going to have to give some leeway. Yeah. You're going to have to give some ground in order to make this work.
Yeah. So then we go to Miss Bao.
We get Bao.
Bao.
Yeah, you.
Bao. But anyway, so Bao is also 35.
Yes.
And they're both, let me add this, they're both Vietnamese. Mm-hmm. And what we hear from Bao is a little bit of different upbringing, because even though Johnny said his dad left his mom to raise him as a single mother, it didn't seem like they struggled so much. Yeah. Whereas Bao, on the other hand, she says, coming into the United States as an immigrant, and she said when she first started school, she couldn't speak a lick of English. Yeah. And she said they lived in a 50-year-old trailer. And when she used to get off the bus, she would walk past her house.
So the kids wouldn't see
kids wouldn't see where she lived and where, so it wouldn't be something for them to pick on her about. She just had a rough upbringing. And so that's something for her. And so even kind of like Johnny, she's meticulous and specific. She says, I do everything in a spreadsheet.
Yes.
Everything. She said, I even put in a spreadsheet the pros and cons about getting married, doing this married at first sight. She said, I do everything in a spreadsheet. It's very analytical and, in that way, kind of controlling, like Johnny said, so I'm like, okay.
But she said this, she also, she works in cancer research. Mm-hmm. And so she works in cancer research, and she's very thoughtful. She's very intelligent. Mm-hmm. And she said she didn't want anybody who's not really as intelligent as she was. Yes. She wanted to be somebody on the same level or even higher than her. And we know she's very energetic and she has a mind. She doesn't want people to see the other side. There's the other side of Bao. Not the fun, loving, sweet, but I can be fiery and
I can't
upset
imagine.
and all that. And so she talks about that side too. But she does, as we mentioned, she's an activist in her community. Mm-hmm. She does a lot with her Vietnamese community. And so there's a lot of similarities between the two. Yes. As we come to find out, there's a lot of similarities between the two. But one thing we know that Bao likes to have fun. Yes. Because at the bachelorette party, she was getting down.
She had a good time.
She enjoyed herself. So she's fun loving, but she's also a control freak as well. Mm-hmm. She liked things done in a certain way, certain order. She wants things. So you have two people who are controlling getting together. But the expert believe that this will work out. Mm-hmm. Now, I tend to believe, and this is where I like this because there are people who are saying, I don't like the couple they put together. They expect the other person.
A polar opposite.
And they expect them to work out. This time they have people who kind of very similar together. So I think this season we'll have some good couples.
We
still have some entertainment stuff and some drama, but I think Bao and Johnny works well with each other. Should work well with each other, but she's still nervous. Yeah. Even up until the wedding day.
Let me say this though. I want to say this because I thought it was funny too. So when she sits down to let her family and friends know, we see her roommate there, Van, mm-hmm. and he's a guy, and then we see her brother Dao mm-hmm. and her brother Son.
Yes.
And so when they come into the restaurant, they all sit down, and so she tells them that she's getting married, and like Dao and Son are like.
No expression.
They were statuesque. I was like, this is so funny. But we found out that Son is like, I think this is good for Bao. Yeah. If she can find somebody basically that can handle her, how meticulous and analytical she is, and how particular she is. Yeah. And we see her friend and roommate Van kind of say the same type of thing, and he actually even goes. I think he's with her when she goes to pick her dress out. She goes to pick her dress out. This is her roommate. This is a good old, really good friend.
They tight. They tough.
So she's looking at not Bao Van for a lot of support. Yeah. When she goes to pick the dress out, I thought that was cute.
It was, and so we get to the wedding. She wanted the dress with pockets. I don't know, y'all women help me out. I'm a guy.
It's just fun.
What's the big deal with pockets on your wedding dress?
It's just fun to have
because
pockets.
Bree said the same thing, to have pockets on a wedding dress. I mean, you want to put your
hands
on
a dress. Period.
You want your hands in your pocket the whole time you married. While doing a wedding.
No, it's just the dress. Period. It's just fun. But the first dress she had on, it looked kind of stiff to me. I was like, nah, I don't think you need that. So she put on another one, which was kind of the top was the same, but a different design and material. And she was like, oh, this one has pockets too. Well, she was like, I could stash food. I could stash food in my pockets. But the second dress, the pockets were sheer. So she was like, he'll see my egg roll in my pocket. She's like, I don't want to see. What? Yeah, she did say she had 3 brothers, but every time they showed Van, it kept saying her roommate.
So might be a brother.
It might be her brother and her roommate. I would think they would do, roommate / brother.
But yeah, it might be.
Yeah. So anyway, so it's just fun to have pockets because then, like we see later when you have to take pictures, like what do I do with my hands? When you don't know what to do with your hands, you can put them in your pocket.
Or you can hold your husband's hand.
But you could put in your pocket.
But you can hold your hand. Maybe your husband can put his hands in your pocket while your hands in his pocket.
No.
So you can put both hands in your pocket.
No. Okay.
Why not?
So anyway. Newsflash: Johnny and Bao are the only wedding that we see.
Only wedding that we see.
The only wedding that we see tonight.
And so so Bao sends Johnny a letter. And Johnny vice versa. And a gift. And vice versa. So Bao gets Johnny letter. And it's a card, and it's like all this he wrote.
Well, no. Let's go to Johnny first.
Okay.
Johnny gets his package. It's a box, and it's a card, and he is cracking up because he pulls the card out, and it's a sympathy card.
Yeah.
And he's like, "This is funny to me already. This is something I would do." She sends him a sympathy card, but it's like, "I can't wait to meet you, husband." It says to hubby on it.
Yeah.
And then inside it was like, it's good that you have friends around you during this difficult time. And he got the biggest kick out of that. So, score for Bao on her gift. And so she sent him a groom survival kit.
Like gift card,
it's like a mint and stuff like that, but other stuff too. And so fast forward, Bao gets her gift. It's 2 packages that she gets. And she gets this card, and she automatically is like, "Oh my gosh, he wrote so much in this card, and I didn't write that much. Oh my gosh, I hope he's not upset. I didn't put that much in the card." And so she goes to reading the card, and
hope you're a bigger sports fan than me. And she was like,
"No, oh my gosh, that was one of the things that's a red flag to me. I don't want somebody that's really into sports. I don't like sports, and I want somebody that's intellectual. And
I don't know too many intellectuals who like sports.
I don't know too many people that are in my field that are intellectual that's into sports. And I mean, that thing messed with her so bad. So he gave them jerseys. They had 2 jerseys, and she was like, ugh. But I think the main thing was it wasn't so much about the sports. He did say it was, I hope you're a sports fan. The biggest thing was we're going to be on a team together.
We're going to be on the same team together.
As husband and wife. Like that went past her. She was stuck on, he likes sports. I don't like sports. It never works out. I mean, she really was sitting there like, not pouting. She was like, I didn't want this. She said, I want an intellectual. Somebody get a Nobel Prize. It's
but not even that, dude. But also the fact that the picture frame he gave was like off center. Some of the words were there.
Well, no, it's supposed to be like that. So it's the words is like I can't. It's a like a collage picture frame.
Yeah.
And so
like mosaic color where you can interchange it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but she said she made a comment about that. But the big thing was, she was just sulking about the sports thing, and her mom was like, "Don't worry about that. Get past it." She was like, "No, that's a red flag to me." And I'm like, "Bao, let it go.
Let it go." So they get to the altar.
Let it go. Okay.
They get to the altar.
And
Johnny's there first.
I think this is one of the first times, like I expected when he came in for him to like look at the audience like, oh, okay, hey, you know, like nobody really said anything. They're just kind of looking at him and he's like waiting. He's like, okay, where is she? I hope she's coming. I'm nervous. Oh my gosh, where is she? I hope she's coming. And meanwhile, again, she's still sulking about the sports thing. And what if I don't know if I want to do this? What am I doing? Da, 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 da. And so finally she comes in and
she comes up to the altar.
She gets in a doorway and they're both like, oh, I know him.
I know him.
I know her. She says, oh my God, it's Johnny.
It's Johnny. And so now I'm going to tell you what happened while we was watching this. And so we watching it and they doing their vows. And somebody, I'm not going to say names, like, can y'all tell us how they met?
Can we just get to it already?
I want to know how they know each other.
I want to know how they know each other. But so they're like, oh my gosh. Like, and they just kept saying, oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. And even the officiant was like, okay, well, Bao meet Johnny for the first time again. Since y'all know each other. And I mean, they were just like all smiles, like, oh my gosh, I know him.
He had to revamp his vows, you know, because he's like,
just a little bit.
And then she gave a beautiful poem that some people I was watching with got a little dust in their eyes.
My daughter and me, she was like, well, I wrote my vows as a poem. And I was like, oh my God, it is so sweet. And just what she said, I was like, oh, I'm getting choked up. I'm getting teary-eyed. And my daughter was like, don't look at me. I don't want to cry. I was like, I'm not going to let the tears fall. But I was like, this is so sweet. And he was like, feeling it too.
Yes.
It was very nice. But when they realized they knew each other, like they put the camera on parents and stuff, and her mom was like smiling and she was kind of teary too. It was like, oh, good.
And one thing I like about Johnny that he asked, do you mind after the fishing was finished, do you mind kissing me? Or
yeah, you may kiss your bride. And he was like, may I?
May I?
And she was like, yeah.
And they both hands
her nice little kiss.
Her hands were clammy. His hands were cold.
No,
her
vice
hands
versa.
were cold. Yeah.
When they did the rings.
Yeah.
Oh, that was funny too. So when you put the ring on her finger, and so he grabs her hand and he was like, oh, your hand is cold. And he puts the ring on and she was like, it fits. And I'm like, I know you had to give them your ring size.
Your ring size.
You know, come on now. And so she gets his hands like, oh, your hand is clammy. And, oh, is this the right finger? And puts the ring on. And
I know some of you are thinking, how do they know each other?
But I was going to say
something. Get there.
I was going to say something else about the vows and stuff. But I don't know. You made me lose my train of thought. But yeah, so they walk out and they're chit-chatting. So there's a vignette. This is what had happened. What had happened was...
Tell us.
What had happened was...
Let us know.
Bao was the president of like a Vietnamese student organization at University of Houston.
Correct.
And so Johnny was the president of a Vietnamese student organization at University of Texas. And so they had like a forum or a conference or whatever where you could meet the presidents. And so they met each other then. And, you know, they found each other to be nice and it was like, okay, pretty cool or whatever. But Johnny said he wasn't really in a place to take anything, you know, to get into anything serious. They were in college.
And Bao said Johnny was like Rico Suave and he was...
Yeah, she was like, he seemed like a ladies' man. I wasn't really feeling it, a playboy. And that's what I'm going to say. So the funny part is the fact that when she walked in and she knew Johnny, because if you looked in the preview, she didn't say it on this episode. Which, yes, she did. She just didn't go into detail. She said, I gave them a list because I'm so active in the community, because I know so many people. And what I do, she said, the chances of them finding somebody that I knew were very likely. So she was like, I gave them a list of people.
I don't want anybody I dated. I don't want anybody I work with.
I don't. And she wrote down all these names. She says, you know what? I didn't write your name down. Because she said, of all people, both of them were like, of all people, I never would have thought it'd be Johnny. I never would have thought it'd be Bao. We walked in. But she said, I never wrote your name down because it didn't cross her mind that she'd ever run into him. And she said the other funny thing is, because he said he's been on all the date naps. He said that earlier. He's been on all the date naps trying to find somebody. And she says, you always come up in my matches for dates. And he was like, what, did you swipe left on me? She says, I know, I like them too. She said, I never swiped left on you. I always kept you in the maybes. He was like, is that a good or a bad thing? She said, it's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
It's a good thing. I kept you in my maybes. And I was like, ew, I like it. I like Bao and Johnny.
I like them too, but I kind of like, after this wears off, are they able to maneuver when they get home? Because now
I think so.
The perfectionists, of both of them being perfectionists. So who's going to give way? Who's going to take control? Who's going to give in? Because they both like to have control. When you get two controlling people,
to a degree,
somebody has to fall back a little.
He wants the woman to say, I love you first. Right. He wants her to, start things first, make the first move. So
in certain areas, so they're going to have to work on what areas do I need to lead in and which areas do I need to fall back in. And I think there lies what will make their relationship work. If they can determine how to manage their relationship and who has control.
But that was cute when they were taking the pictures. Both of them were like, what do we do with that? With our hands. And they was like, hold your spouse's hand. And they were like, oh, okay, let's hold hands.
And they got a big family. And that's one thing too. They have their families were large.
Beautiful. The family picture, it was like it had to scroll
a
whole lot, pan, I was like, wow. And but it's a beautiful picture.
And they have a good mindset because he was like, do you mind when we get married, we want to do this tea ceremony? And she was like,
that's one thing I said was a non-negotiable. I wanted to do the tea ceremony. It's like, oh, snap.
It is a tradition. And so, again, they were prepared.
Very well matched.
Very well matched so far on that level. Interesting to see how that works out.
And I'm going to say, not just on that level, because like you said, they had interaction before. Yeah. And they had a good interaction. They had a good impression of each other. So she said he is a sports fan, but it's not as much as she got herself worked up about. So,
over the top. Yeah. I mean, he likes basketball. He likes different sports. I mean, I think even when you're that intellectual, you still like to do other things than just be into, sports and whatnot. And the funniest part that cracked us up, she mentioned she didn't want anybody with a micro. She mentioned she didn't want anybody with a micro penis.
So she was talking to Van, right?
She was talking to Van, yes. So she said she didn't mind, and she didn't mind.
Oh yeah, because Van was like, well, what if it's somebody with a really high libido? And she was like, well, he has a hand, doesn't he?
You got a hand.
Like, oh my gosh.
Bao is very open, and so she's very
funny.
She's funny, and then on the lines of sex, that was a question that Brett brought up. Has anybody? When the last time you guys have been with somebody? And that's when she mentioned she hadn't been with anybody in 2 years, and then Michaela was like, well, I told when I got picked for this, I had to tell my friend that he had to go.
Yeah, I had to tell my buddy. So obviously she didn't say she was in a relationship.
She just had a
buddy. But she even said it was right before she got matched. You know what I'm saying? She was like, he was like, so what that means? She was like, yeah, no, we can't do them things, them situationship things.
She had a
she had a bed buddy.
She had a bed buddy.
She has a bed buddy.
She had a bed buddy. So we'll see. Now she will get married and she won't have a bed buddy that can come over when he come and go. She have a husband.
Yeah.
But it was good, and everybody else was just quiet. Nobody else shared, and Michaela's a fireball. So I'm interested to see the rest of the weddings next week. They will give us all 4. You will get all 4 weddings next week. They're gonna have to. They will not drag this along. This 3-hour episode of Marriage.
Well, I hope not, because once before didn't they do what they did, like the weddings and then the receptions, and then it came back to the other weddings.
Yeah, but we'll get. I
don't want that.
You'll get all 4 weddings. I'm not saying weddings and receptions, but you will get all 4 weddings next week. Hey, we're happy to be back talking about Married at First Sight. It wasn't a long break.
It's gonna be good.
It wasn't a long break, but it was a good, decent break that we needed. Hey, I'm ready. I'm ready for this. Ready for this ride. Ready for this journey. Married at First Sight. I think we will not have, in my opinion, y'all let us know. I don't think we had that much drama that we had in season 12.
It doesn't seem like it so far.
Doesn't seem like it so far. I think we'll have some decent conversation piece to talk about with these couples, but it won't be no baby mama drama. It won't be no Mercedes-Benz drama. It won't be anything of you leaving, coming back type drama, I believe. But I think this is...
We'll see. I mean...
We'll see.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Let us know what you...
surprised before.
In the comment section below, let us know what you thought about last night's introduction of Married at First Sight Season 13. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification. All those in the chat. Thank y'all for chatting with us. I know we came on in the middle of the day, but we had to get this video out. It was a long, long night of watching the 3-hour episode. So we want to make sure we got this to you guys in a timely manner. We appreciate you. Thank you. And catch you down the road.
Thank y'all. Bye.
Bye.